Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of 4GQ TV. Today we have a very special guest, Aaron Dalla Villa. Hopefully I said that correctly. If I say it wrong, just let me know.
You just said it perfectly. You have no idea how many articles and how many people pronounce that. They royally screw it up. The Lavala, the Lavola, the Sola Villa, Villa Sola Dalla. They've messed it up a lot, but whatever. You did great.
Awesome. Well,
one of the harder names we get, and Carlo actually does it correctly. He messes up Smith usually, so.
Yeah. Hey, don't listen to that guy next to me.
Those are the tricky names. Smith, Jones, Wilson. Those are tricky, all right?
Yeah.
And then of course on the interview we have known in the community as Cerebral Paul. He's here with me. He's next to me on the screen. But today we're talking about Aaron and Aaron's career and what Aaron does, and Aaron seems really cool and energetic already, and I got his name right, so that's a plus, so I'm happy about that. So Aaron, tell me, how did you get started into, just getting the etching for acting, like getting into it, wanting to do it?
So I started as a ballet dancer at around the age of 13, and acting wasn't really even a thing that I thought of, but there is a lot of acting in dance. You're moving through without language. That's your form of communication with your body, just strict movement, but you're still telling a story. So I was already kind of doing that, and I attended the Governor's School for the Arts, where I trained in professional ballet and modern dance. And their theater program needed someone to play the son of Macduff in their production of Macbeth. So I said, okay, great, I'll do it. And I did it. They enjoyed what I did. Didn't really know what I was doing, but it seemed really fun. And then later on, when I was auditioning for a company in Chicago, I had a slight injury through a sprained ankle, and I said, well, what do? I'm unable to accept this contract because of my injury. I said, screw it, I'll act. And I hopped on Craigslist and I just went for it.
Craigslist?
Yeah, dead serious. I started my career off Craigslist.
Wow, that's the first.
I had to avoid a lot of the scams and, the people trying to get me into pornography and stuff. So, but yeah, I went from Craigslist to Backstage to Actors Access, and that was it.
Okay. So on Craigslist, what was the first job you did?
It was a really terrible dinner theater show called Dinner with the Family, where me as this 22-year-old guy was playing a 45-year-old restaurateur with terrible Italian accent. And we would perform, it was dinner theater. So, people come in, have their dinner and stuff. We'd give on a live performance. And it was, one of the reviewers said the plot is prosciutto thin. So, the world that we're playing in. However, it did lead to me getting an agent. It did lead to a good review from that reviewer about my work. And it did kind of set the spark. So even though it was not the most professional of things, the people who were involved, their hearts were in the right places. And it was kind of the spark that kind of lit the fuse for me.
Wow. That's an amazing break-in right there. Like going from Craigslist to dinner theater and then getting an agent right after that. That's intense.
Got an agent. I was very fortunate from Wendy. She was in the cast, very talented performer and singer. The story had problems, all right? It wasn't the talent. The story had problems, and, we were fighting with the venue as well. But she saw something in me, and she was like, hey, let me connect you with my agent. So I'm very grateful for that. So you never know. You never know. Kind of the same thing with Pledge. Pledge kind of was the next thing that kind of moved me really forward. I had just done a TV show, Duels. That was my first big job. Duels, where I played the lead in that. It was short form content. Black Pills, kind of like what Quibi was before Quibi. It was made by this French billionaire. It's called Black Pills, 10-minute episodes, short form content. This is before TikTok and all that stuff. And right after that, I did a film called Pledge, where I booked it off of casting networks. I paid $100 a day, but it's been one of the biggest films that I've done that have led to other films that have paid more money and stuff. So you never know. You never know where your breaks are going to come out of. I don't think of big breaks. I think if you get small incremental breaks along the way. And then also you have to do whatever you can to set yourself up in that position to get that break, but also at the same time be carving your own creative path and not wait for the phone to ring.
And let me
Anyway,
just
that's a little tangent. That's a little tangent, but yeah.
Let me just, since we broke into that tangent, let me just throw it. I just recently watched Pledge, and anybody who hasn't seen it, it's from 2018. Check it out. Check out his performance. It's a standout performance. It really is. Yeah.
Thank you, man. What's funny is that to this day, I've done, bigger films and stuff. And I'm like, man, I just want to have a performance like Pledge again. It's like, girlfriend, she won't let it up. She's like, it's his best role. It's his best role. And I'm like, so yeah, whatever.
So, doing the stuff that you've done, I've seen that you've been in a lot of different episodes of different shows as well. And when you go to try out for those shows, right, is it something like you're called back right away for and say, hey, you're in this episode? Or is it like they just hold on to your stuff and they wait and wait and wait? And they're like, hey, we saw this tape a year ago. You're good. We're going to put you in the episode. What was that like?
Okay.
What's that like?
Okay, so if we're talking specifically TV, my experience, so you put a couple things in there, which I've had experience with, some commercials, some films, some things. So let's focus on TV. Generally, funny enough, I did a guest star spot for FBI. That was my most recent TV credit. And you would think with a guest star spot, we're in this Zoom world now where we no longer really go into the office anymore. People cast off tape. So generally what they'll do is they'll give you an audition. You'll turn in the audition. They'll either give you a callback, or what they did in my case, there was no callback. They pinned me, which says, hey, basically it's between you and someone else. And they just say either will pin, so hold this person for these dates. And then after that hold, you either get booked or you get released. So with that FBI spot, I actually didn't need a callback. It was a tape. I got pinned. I booked it. There have been other cases with co-stars where it went, you're called, you audition, you're called back, and then you go. And I think that depends on the process of where casting is and the producers on their side, because if they're just trying to scramble and put everything together, and because we don't even know, there's a whole other side of how much work and logistics goes into shooting an episode of a TV show. So we don't know what variables they're dealing with. So they might need someone immediately. They're like, all right, cast off tape. Who do we got? Great. Yeah, they look good. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So everything is different, but that specifically was how it broke down for my most recent episode on FBI. And in regards to this commercial I've done before, I recently shot a commercial for Panerais over in Israel. That was a situation where I auditioned for another commercial a year before that commercial, where the client remembered me and said, hey, this thing is on our desk now. Find me that guy and give him that audition. So your work gets remembered, all right? Honestly, I've had really bad auditions. No one seems to remember the bad auditions. Like if you bomb an audition, they don't really care. But if you do a great audition, you'll be remembered. So just relax, actors. If you have a bad audition, it's fine. They probably won't even remember.
Now, come to voice acting. I see that you have some voice acting credits as well, some stuff in iHeartRadio, some commercials. Have you ever done voice acting for, let's say, a video game, a cartoon, anime?
Yeah, so I just did a video game. It was called, can I say it? I don't know if I could say it yet.
Okay.
I just did voiceover for a video game. It was English dubbing. I've done Earth Defense Force, Iron Rain. I've auditioned for a lot of Rockstar games as well. I came pretty close to booking Far Cry for motion capture. And I've worked in the animated space as well with animated feature film Fireworks. So I have worked in that space too.
So you're very versatile. Like you have the ability to do different aspects of acting as well, not just stage, not just theater, not just TV, but voice acting too. So that's a pretty interesting.
I think you for a longevity, a longer career, you have to be an actor of the craft. You know, you can't just be, oh, I want to be a movie star. Don't get me wrong, there are those things where it's like I want to be a movie star and stuff, but I find that the longer careers and the more respected careers are the ones that are able to diversify and be able to work in any medium possible, so
I was
that
gonna
you're
say,
constantly castable and you're constantly working.
and counting what you have coming up, according to IMDb, in the last 10 years, you've done 71 things to your credit. That's just what's on IMDb. So you've been keeping busy. So,
Yeah, yeah. You know, I try to keep as busy as possible. Right now, I'm doing an off-Broadway show that's it's a pretty high-level off-Broadway show. I can't announce yet. I'm contracted on that since November, and I'm contracted until January of next year. So I have a stable 40-hour week acting job for the next year, and that's a huge blessing that I'm very grateful for. Now that takes me out of the running for auditioning for TV and film and
Right.
stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta hedge your bets. You know what I'm saying? So this was the right time post strike to take a job like this. Also the caliber that we're working in, the space, the level of artistry, it's very good, and I think it's going to be a successful show. And what it's also allowed me to do is take that income and focus my efforts towards building my company, which is the production company that I launched recently called One Man Army Productions. And we've already got several projects under our belt.
Oh, wow. Can you tell us a little bit more about One Man Army Productions?
Sure, sure. So, you know, as an actor, you don't really have a lot of power as an actor. You're kind of a hired gun, and you're always in the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you're the right thing, or if the producer is looking for a specific name to pre-sell the movie, you're always dealing in those variables. So, I wanted to put myself in a position where I could kind of create my own projects and put myself where I want myself to go. So I realized, oh, what's better than doing that than launching a production company, assembling a team that would be cool with that. So in the production company, we obviously have we invested in a feature film, Across the Seas, which a friend of mine just directed that I can't talk about. I have my short film that I directed that'll be done in March, that I directed, co-wrote, co-produced, starred in. Then we're developing another short. We're in pre-production on a feature that we're going to shoot in the summer. And then the second half of that, to build the brand IP, is we host these sort of offbeat, weird movie screenings down on the Lower East Side to sort of activate the culture in the community, to also bring more attention to One Man Army and what we're doing. And then recently I joined the social club, the Lambs. The Lambs. So I'm a lamb now, and it's a very famous, well-known social club that had people such as Fred Astaire, Rue Goldberg, that we're looking to activate that space with readings of the projects that we're developing and stuff. But to keep it back on topic, so One Man Army Productions is both a full-time production company and also an exclusive screening series on the Lower East Side. And it's just my way of kind of taking power into my hands, because as an actor, like I said, you don't really have a lot of power. And this is something that I can really put out the work that I want to be a part of.
That's good. Yeah. I do hear that from a lot of different actors too that do different mediums, is that they don't really have the power of direction in their projects. You know, like they're told what to do, how to do it, and they got to be there on time or got to be there where they need to be. It's very specific. Even with voice actors, you know, sometimes they have to go to Texas or Los Angeles for studio. Not everybody could do home recordings anymore. Sometimes they can. So it's very, yeah, it varies on the project, the director and the producer. It's like different.
I had a situation like that actually. The most recent job I did, which was a voiceover video game job, they said in the audition that we're open to you recording from your home studio, and I have a home studio. And then when I booked the job, they said, oh, you have to be LA local. So I flew myself over there to do the job. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, I mean, I made money. Don't get me wrong. I would have made more money had I done the job here, but I still made money. But to have the credit alone is going to give me more longevity. So yeah, you really don't have any. Listen, I've been in situations where you know, I was attached to a certain film, but they had to go with a bigger name actor because Lionsgate wouldn't buy the film. if that actor wasn't on it. You know, I've been in situations like that already in my career, so I'm just thinking, how can I put myself into a position where that doesn't happen? Or more so, how can I put myself in a position of power where I can greenlight other people's projects, or bring other people who haven't had an opportunity to excel or be in a great film? How can I give them an opportunity to sort of greenlight their careers, kind of thing?
Yep. You're actually like the third or fourth producer that's like that we've interviewed, that has these things that they bring in lesser knowns, and they give them basically their break, their chance. Here's your opportunity. I like that, because that's how the industry is going to grow and do better, by bringing in new blood, you know.
Totally. And I think especially, look at the post strikes, look at what's happening right now. I mean, from what I'm hearing, word on the street is that not a lot of projects are getting green lit. Like that people are very kind of tightening their belt loops and not really sure what the thing is to make next. So I think we're going to see a resort back to this indie style of filmmaking with these reduced budgets, and that are just purely about the storytelling, and kind of a reset, and kind of be like, all right, guys, why are we doing this? Because superhero fatigue, these big budget, whatever CGI fest, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole, woke movement in Hollywood and stuff. I think people are exhausted. I think people are exhausted with this, and they just want to see really, really good storytelling and good cinema, where not everyone is so pretty. All right. Like this is why The Sopranos is such a great show, because you have these character actors who are leads.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with my indie film, I'm casting people who would generally have such unique, distinct looks, would be considered as background actors, as some of the main actors, because they're just such unique personalities. And I'm molding their dialogue around how they already speak, so I don't have to do much work on set.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that to me is way more exciting when you can bring that sort of level of authenticity. So.
I think authenticity is very important, and like you, and I'm gonna say this real quick. Sorry to put this in here, but you mentioned The Sopranos, and I love that show. At the very last scene, the last episode, the club member's jacket. I don't know if you remember that. That was my dad's friend. That was in that. And I grew up Italian, and I tried out for The Sopranos when I was a lot younger. I was skinnier. I could wear a suit. I didn't have a beard, and they closed they had so many people trying out, right? So they closed the building because it was open tryouts. And I just was walking down the street, and I got invited to a little Italian social club in New Jersey, because they said, "Oh, you're one of the guys from the neighborhood. You're not one of these pansies over here trying to try out." I was like, "Okay, I'll come in." I mean, I that just makes me think, when you say authenticity, at that time, I guess it's a shame I didn't make it in the tryouts, because the Italian guys in the neighborhood said I was authentic. They thought I was from the neighborhood, so I just came into the social club. Yeah, and that reminds me of what you're talking about now, authenticity. You want people that can relate, that feel, that look like the character, however rugged or however nice, whatever the situation might be. So
again, like I know with The Sopranos, they picked all New York actors for those roles. They wanted New York actors. They wanted to be as authentic as they could in a fictional world.
Well, New Jersey too.
Carlo and Paul, like, you guys hit the nail on the head. You know what I'm saying? Like that sort of off the street authenticity, where they're from, they wanted it to feel breathed in, and that's why the show is so great and has withstood the test of time.
Now, have you ever been selected based on, let's say, the authenticity of the character you're playing, or do they try to tell you how to play the character?
It's a case-by-case scenario. There are people, directors that have been more controlling, and then there are directors that have been like, all right, you're the guy, run wild. You know what I mean? So my most recent film, it's a documentary. It's a sort of a hybrid documentary. So it's, real elements mixed with fake elements. It's called Citizen Wiener. It premiered at Slamdance. We've got Absolutely Productions that just came on to EP, Village Roadshow, handling sales right now. I'm a co-producer on that as well. I play this like wild dude based off of my personality, but a lot of the elements in the film are made up. You know what I mean? And that was very much the director being like, you're the guy, run with it. Then I've been in situations where the director has literally been in a room and been like, I want you to go over here, look here, say this thing, come down here, say this thing. So it's a case by case scenario. But one of my favorite projects I did work on was called a film called All Those Small Things, where I played a rapper. Now, I got the job, and the director did not know that I was also a rapper and made music as well. So I made 2 songs for the film that are actually in the film. But I don't know if that was a casting based off authenticity. I think that just happened to be happenstance. So
I have to ask then, was the pledge, was that more of a you being you, or was that them telling you how they wanted, because that you were wild enough?
That director, I really, that director is one of my favorite directors I like to work with. His name is Daniel Robbins. He's very good at casting the right people. He's very good at casting because, 90% of directing, as the phrase says, 90% of directing is casting. So if you cast the right people, you don't need to direct them much. You just have to guide them in the way that tells the story most efficiently. He really let me run wild with that. You know what I mean? He let me run wild with that. So I had a lot of fun. There's a lot of Aaron in there. There is a lot of Aaron, I will say, but I'm not running around running a weird social club prepping people to be slaughtered. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's just interesting what you're telling us. And then, so that leads me to the next question, right? Because I think when I look at Hollywood, and of all the people I spoke to, it feels like generational leaps, right? With the writers, with the directors, with the producers. Would you say that the older producers and directors might be more apt to tell an actor how to act a character versus maybe directors and producers that are younger today? Do you see any generational differences, or is it just up to the individual pretty much?
I don't think we can make a generalization based on age or based on demographic or whatever. I think it's a case by case scenario. I think it's way more nuanced and specific than that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And
it also depends on what their angle is. Sorry to interrupt you. It also depends on what their angle is. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's working an angle. Like, what is their angle? Did the director have a bomb and now they're trying to, not have a bomb? Is someone fresh out of college? They're trying to prove themselves. Like, there's so many more variables that play into how a director directs their actors and their team.
Do you see any differences in maybe the quality of pre-production when a studio feels like it's going to be a streamed film, like, direct to stream, a streaming service, versus something they may look at a theatrical release for?
I'm not sure. Okay, so here's my biggest problem is that I'm noticing a trend where they'll take these scripts that are not very good and just staff it with certain names that can get the film greenlit, pre-sold overseas, pre-sold domestically, shoot it, and just put it out there as another movie with the only hopes to make money. Not to make a good movie, but to make money. So they'll just kind of whore out the names, get the pre-sale, greenlight it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
Guys, we don't need a remake of the Avengers because you're failing. Yeah. We need something that is inventive and unique, and we need to take risks. And the only place to really take risks right now is independent film. And that's why I call on independent filmmakers. I'm making a feature film. I'm going to try to get the budget to $70,000 to $100,000. But if we can't, I'm making a feature film for $30,000.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm doing it. We're doing it. I'm pulling all the strings I can. It's going to be some wild stuff. And it's going to be freaking awesome. All right. It's going to be rock and roll. And that's my job. That's my job as a studio owner. My job as a studio owner is to make dope stuff, great storytelling, and that's it. Like that's the only angle I see, because I don't see it coming out of the current studios right now. I see laziness. I see people who are just trying to keep the stock price up. I don't see filmmakers. You know, the studios they're not run by filmmakers anymore. I've been on the ground. You know, like I know what it's like to make a movie. I know what it's like to pull every string. I know what it's like. So I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. You know what I'm saying? So
I'll tell you that we here are big supporters of independent filmmakers. We've talked to a lot of them, and we a lot of it's been for us been horror focused, because that's my focus is. So we've talked to a lot of guys that have had their stuff on Shudder. That's how I found them, and that's how they found us. So anything you're doing like that, anytime you have anything coming out, let us know. We'll get the word out for you. We'll do what we can. So
thank you so much. Yeah, I've got a lot of things coming out. You know what's funny is that ever since I started kind of putting this one-man army kind of thing together, people have just wanted to become a part of it, because they believe in we're at a crucial moment in our industry where movies are dying.
Yeah.
Our industry, it's on life support right now. Like, we need fresh, innovative blood. All right. We don't need a remake of the Avengers.
No. Some of the best stuff we've seen lately is
let Robert Downey Jr. He died. Let him stay dead. That was a great scene where he gave himself up for the Avengers. Don't ruin it.
That's right.
It's just lazy. It's lazy. It's these, okay, cool. And then the studios are on life support. What can we do for a cheap, quick buck? Rather than being like, you know what, man, screw it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. So, yeah.
The other side of that, I would say, is if you are an independent filmmaker and you happen to strike gold for one of your movies, remember that you're an independent filmmaker after that. Don't.
Yeah. So my model is, you know, when we strike gold, eventually, when we strike gold with one of our films, my goal is to then, that's what One Man Army is about. We're about scouting uncut gems. You know, we found this great director that he's going to be a first-time feature film director. He's working with us, luckily. And that's our job. Our job is to, when we strike gold, who's the next talent? Who's the next uncut gem? Who can we give an opportunity to? Who is trying to move independent filmmaking forward, so that we don't fall into the laziness of, oh yeah, we got this script, it's meh, but we can attach some names and stuff, get the pre-sale, meh, you know what I mean? Yeah. Can we really take risks and stick to put our money where our mouth is, essentially? Or are we going to get greedy?
Right.
So, yeah.
So there's something else I saw on your, actually, what it was is I read an interview. I can't remember the name of the website, but it had like 10 things about Aaron Dalla Villa that you might not know. And one of them was supernatural, that you apparently have a fondness for the supernatural. I don't know if that's okay. So I wanted to ask you this. Did you ever have any supernatural experiences?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. Whether it's seeing numerology, numbers, synchronicity, visions before that I've seen, manifestations. I definitely believe in its energy. It's energy. It's cultivation of energy.
Okay. Interesting. Well, there's something I want to definitely talk to you after this about real quick. But yeah, no, I thought that was interesting and you also did something with local teen sports news.
Yeah, Teen News Now when I was really young. Yep.
All right. So you had this thing where you wanted to be on camera. You wanted to talk about things that
always.
You had that energy. Yeah, no,
always.
I can see it.
I am a people person. I'm a people person. You know, that's what I do.
I can see it. Well, Paul, did you have any other questions you want to ask the special icebreaker question? And don't say it's not an icebreaker question. It is an icebreaker.
It is not, no.
Yes,
we ask this question of everybody we interview
just to
get a general idea of the type of person you are. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Pineapple or what?
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, nope, sorry, interview's
Oh!
over.
1,000% yes. I love pineapple on pizza, and I will stick with it till the day I die.
Nice.
I
Wow.
love it.
It's okay. Well, you gave a good interview anyway, so we'll let it float.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
All good.
Don't listen to Paul. You know, we'll just stick him in the back of your production company somewhere. He can open mail. Anyway, but Aaron, I want to thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. And after this, like I said, after we wrap up, I just want to talk to you about something real quick. But
Sure.
Thank you so much. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Aaron Dalla Villa. That's where I'm most active. And if they have short films or scripts and stuff they want to send my production company, they can go to onemanarmyproductions.com. There's a form they can submit and reach out to us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.